Welcome to the Quick Stop F1 podcast. My name is Mario, and you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate it. If you are on YouTube, remember to like, subscribe, comment, turn on those notifications. If you're on Spotify, Apple, give us those 5 stars and write a review. I'm still waiting for some funny reviews so we can read them out. We've got a Patreon. Join us on Fan Amp, where we're having discussions during all these different sessions on weekends like these, too many sessions, yada, 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 with us today, as always. She's still waiting for the Soriyama merch, but she's got a really cool hat, so that's fine. She is ready to
Why'd you
throw
have to say
hands. She is ready to. I'm doing my thing, Tasha. Excuse me. Can I do my my thing real quick?
He's like, I have the floor. Yeah.
I have the talking stick right now. I have the baton. She's ready to throw hands at the sprint format. She's a future podcast award winner. It's the main reason we're all here. It's Tasha.
Yay!
Tasha, it's so good to be back.
Yeah, I know. It's been 3 weeks.
Hey, so what's up with us choosing a sprint weekend to come back to this?
My God, it couldn't have worked out better. You know, these are our favorite weekends to cover. So it's like,
we're
wow,
like destined for
Christmas.
it, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, who's in the stars? Yeah.
One thing about this Brazil weekend.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question.
Okay.
Do you remember? There used to be a thing where while we were growing up, Barbies were for girls, G.I. Joes for guys, and there was this thing where like Barbies. I don't remember the phrasing, but it was basically that Barbies like created a bad notion for women of like what they should be. I don't remember how.
Right, like body standards. Yeah,
exactly.
Like she's like really tall. Like her proportions make no sense. Like in real life,
but people made it seem like this is what you should look like, and if you don't look
right,
like
and
this,
it gave girls like
bad.
body image issues. Yeah,
exactly. And like, okay,
did G.I. Joe do that?
Lewis Hamilton fans? Lewis Hamilton fans?
Yeah.
As a person who is currently single, Lewis Hamilton fans are setting outrageous standards for what I would want in a partner. Like,
explain.
Brazil, like the way people speak about him and the way Brazil is like, no, he's ours. Like Brazil would go to war to officially claim him.
Brazil will invade the United Kingdom for Lewis Hamilton.
Will. They absolutely will.
That is their son. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Twitter is a world where I don't know how, but I ended up in a Twitter circle where I'm 100% sure it was mostly people from Brazil speaking Portuguese. And we
were praying last night.
This was today. Ask me if I understand Portuguese. I don't, but that's not the point. You can recognize deep prayer when you hear
what they were saying.
When that voice starts vibrating, doesn't matter which language. When that voice starts vibrating, you're like, yeah, no, these people feel it.
Yeah, that was me last night. I was in the prayer circle last night. There was an exorcism that was performed. There were some deep prayers that were performed.
Were they
funny
in
enough? No, they were in Portuguese. Denny, FIA girlie, she speaks like both Portuguese and English. So she was translating like a little bit here and there, but mainly she was just like laughing and kikiing. So it was kind of funny. Yeah.
She did this today.
Late into the evening.
Nonstop.
Yeah. Honestly, do you blame them? Like, come on now. No. Like this is their son's homecoming. You got to make sure that the ancestors are pleased and like,
I feel like I have pretty good timing. So whenever they did like the pauses, I was like fire emoji, love emoji, heart emoji. I think I was just trying to put vibes out there. I did not understand anything they said.
Yeah.
Tasha, if you could be adopted the way Brazil adopts Lewis Hamilton, where would you like, or you know what I mean? Which country would you like that to adopt?
I would like to be adopted by the aliens, and I want to get the fuck off of this planet. So that's what I want.
This
podcast goes out to the alien ships. Yeah.
I didn't specify Earth, and that's my bad.
I want to live on the moon.
Good answer.
Saturn.
Good answer.
Yeah. This planet sucks. Hell no. Yeah. The only way it's cool if a country adopts you if it's like Lewis Hamilton, where everybody like goes out of their way to like love on you, love on you and like make you feel special.
That's what I'm asking, Tasha. Which country is going to have Tasha murals? Which one do you want? There will be murals of you. You show up at the airport, they pick you up. Obviously, no taxi or the public thing for you. You pass by at least 2 murals. One of them has that hat you have on. Like it's dope. The other one actually has you with Sorayama merch because it's the only way we can get it apparently. So
clearly,
which country is going to have murals of you?
The only place that I really have ever like vibed with on like a deep level has been Berlin. Like that was fucking cool, and the murals would be dope as fuck because there's just street art graffiti everywhere. So
yes,
yeah, I guess if I had to live somewhere or like be adopted, it would be Germany. Berlin specifically. I don't know about the whole country, but like in Berlin, I feel like those are my people. So the clubbing, top tier, food, amazing, art scene, like elite, music scene, elite, like everything's amazing. So yeah.
I would have someone to visit in Berlin, so that really works for me too. Yeah. I love it. That's good. Come on. I maybe wouldn't have said this before Austin. I want Mexico? The Mexicans to adopt me like they adopt Checo.
Wait, can I change my answer? I want to.
No, you can't. Mexican. You went to the moon. You went to the moon. I stayed local. Look, man.
No, wait, hold on.
It, like in my good times, in my bad times, in my mid times. Yeah. Mario.
Right.
I would love it. Yeah,
they would turn up.
And like I got the same last name. It's an easy zoop zoop. It's like when it's like in the movies when you're gonna replace something, and you gotta and do it real sneaky. Like it's that easy to get me with Checo. Same last name. It's fine. Keep the Perez jerseys. They mean me now.
Right.
Like my God.
How do you feel about the number 11?
That. I need that. I don't care. We can change that later. It's fine.
Yeah.
We also it's more importantly we have to fix the Red Bull thing. But like, we can fix that. We can fix that in post.
Yeah, that can be fixed.
CGI goes hard these days.
Yeah.
Wait, right. We're here to talk about the sessions. That's what we're here to do.
Boo. Yeah, you're right. We have a job to do.
We are in
where are we
Brazil?
This week?
Brazil for the São Paulo GP. Real quick. I've seen, and I think I'm asking you as well, but I've seen a lot of love for this track on Twitter by all people, not just the amazing Brazil fan base that Lewis Hamilton has.
Yeah.
Do you feel any type of way towards this track? Do you like it? Do you not have a great opinion on it?
I mean, because I'm a newer fan, I wouldn't say that I have like an attachment to it yet. Obviously, Lewis being very embraced by the fans here, it makes it fun to watch. Same way in, Mexico embraces Checo. Like it makes it just fun to watch because the fans are so like hyper engaged and just the vibes are so much fun. So I think just off of that alone, I think it's a great track to come to and visit, especially toward the end of the season. I feel like the energy is kind of dropping and then you come to Brazil and it's like party,
Yeah. So
I do enjoy it for that reason. And obviously we've had some great races. Had some good sprint races here. Not today, so don't get excited about that one. But yeah, so I don't know. I just feel like it's
stick around.
And yeah, stick around. Yeah. But yeah, what about you? Do you feel like any kind of way about Brazil?
I agree with you. You can really see the culture and vibes. Like with the sessions, every time they show in the cameras, the fans are enjoying it so much. I think it's I would say it's definitely on my list of tracks that I'd like to visit like sooner rather than later. It looks like a lot of fun, except for the weather.
Yeah, it does look fun
that one time, but it looks like a lot.
That weather is crazy.
So because we're masochists and we're here making a podcast on another sprint weekend. We're going to do our usual thing where we're going to go through what we saw on today's Saturday with everything sprint related. And then we'll finish off the pod with qualifying to get you ready for Sunday's race. So with that, let's just dive right into sprint qualifying. And with that, SQ1.
Woo-hoo.
I'm going to just let everybody know the drivers we lost in SQ1 were from 16th through 20th. Esteban Ocon, Lance Stroll, Zhou Guanyu, Alexander Albon, and Logan Sargent. What are your notes for this session?
So the bullets. So Max Verstappen starts us off as usual. He jumps out first and gets us started. His first lap that he puts in is a 1:11.8 and immediately goes P1. Checo puts in a 1:12.2 and he goes P2. We have Ocon P3 and Albon P4. Leclerc goes P2 then with a 1:12.1 and Gasly is in P4. Sainz goes P1. 1:11.7, Hamilton P2, and Russell goes P4. Alonso goes 1:12.7 and he's in P7. Norris goes 1:12.0 and he's in P5. With about 5 minutes to go, our top 5 are Sainz, Hamilton, Verstappen, Russell, and Norris. And the bottom 5 are Sargent, Zhou, Magnussen, Ricardo, Bottas. And then we go on board with Piastri. He goes 1:12.6. He's in P14, struggling a little bit this session. And he's about half a second off of the leader, Sainz. With about 2 minutes to go, Leclerc starts his final lap. Tsunoda and Sargent go behind him. Leclerc goes 1:12.1, goes P7. Tsunoda goes P15 with the 1:12.3. Norris goes P2 with the 1:11.8. Sargent and Albon have to abandon their laps because in Sector 1, Esteban Ocon causes a collision with Fernando Alonso and hits a barrier and damages both of their cars in the process. And before we end that, the quickest 5 of this session are Sainz, Norris, Hamilton, Verstappen, and Russell. Crazy way to end the session.
There's these TikToks. I'm not on TikTok, but like my younger brother keeps me young by sending me TikToks and whatever. But sometimes I stumble upon them. And they're set up really funny where it's a F1 2023 or whatever, like it's the video game. And the prompt is simple. It says, I am the red car. Whose fault is this? And then you'll see 2 cars just driving, and you're like, I wonder what's gonna happen. And then out of fucking nowhere, a red car comes in, takes them all out, and it's like this really like it's such a good format for like that kind of thing.
Right.
And it's funny like that. And I just saw Esteban Ocon come out of fucking nowhere, hit Alonso, and be like, Alonso's an idiot. Like Alonso's like guys, we need to talk about how Alonso's an idiot.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
out
of nowhere.
Yeah, it's like he lost it. Esteban lost control of the car. However, in the post, his interviews, he was like, everybody's saying that I lost it. I didn't lose it. Like, and I'm just like, I don't know, because that's what it kind of looked like. Like the car started sliding around. And then, you went into Alonso.
People
so
who are balding say the same thing. People who are balding say the same thing. They're not losing. They're not losing.
Yeah. So I was like, Esti Vesti, I don't know. Like, I mean, people were talking about, Alonso turned onto the racing line or whatever, but I still feel like that would have happened regardless. Like,
could have Alonso moved further? Yes. Did Alonso move sufficiently? Also, yes.
Right.
Ocon, you lost it.
Yeah, you sidestepped him, babe. Yeah.
So then we go into sprint qualifying, and now from 11th through 15th, we lost both Hasses and Kevin Magnussen and Nico Hulkenberg. We lost Pierre Gasly, Valtteri Bottas. That was good. And then we sort of lost Fernando Alonso, but not really because he never got to start.
Yeah. So SQ2 is on mediums. SQ1 is also on mediums, just so you guys know. So yes, at the start of the session, Alonso is still kind of up in the air if he's going to be able to come out or not. We see his garage kind of doing some questionable things to to get his car back out on the track. So as they're working on that, Max starts us off again. Goes P1 with a 1:11.4, Perez 1:11.6 at P2. Hamilton then comes through with a 1:11.9. He goes P3. Russell P4, then Norris takes over P4, and then Piastri goes P3. Hulk actually ends up splitting the McLarens. Leclerc goes P3, Sainz P2 with just over a 10th to Verstappen. with about 5 minutes to go. Verstappen, Sainz, Perez, Leclerc, and Piastri are our top 5. And the bottom 5, we have Ricciardo, Alonso, Gasly, Bottas, and Tsunoda. Alonso is now at this point confirmed out of the session. They can't fix his car. Bottas is on his first lap of the session, and in the last 2 minutes, we learned that Ferraris may or may not make it to the line to do their final laps. Meanwhile, Verstappen goes 111.2, Bottas goes P7 with the 111.8, Tsunoda goes P6, K-Mag goes P7, Gasly goes P19, Hamilton and Russell down in Sector 1 both, but both manage good times. Hamilton goes P4 and Russell goes P5. Norris replaces Perez at P1 with the 112.2. Leclerc goes P5. And our quickest 5 of the session are Norris, Perez, Verstappen, Ricciardo, and Leclerc. Now, out of those 5 names, actually, there's a couple for me that I'm like, oh, doing pretty well. Do you have anybody stick out to you? Like top quickest 5 in a qualifying session?
Perez doing decently was surprising. Yeah. But especially 2 sessions in a row. Like,
yes. Whoa. Yes. Whoa. I was like, girl, did you clock in for work finally? Like, okay.
So you're not silent quitting?
Right. Quiet quitting.
Because you had me thinking you were doing the thing where you like, right. Oh, you're not.
So you are trying to perform it. Okay.
It's getting really confusing. Mixed signals. We'll get.
Yeah. He's making up for Mexico, for sure. Ricciardo.
Ferrari looking mad average to their level, not like in the back, but mad average. Like really don't like guys, we're gonna be so good at average today.
Right.
Like I'm not impressed.
Yeah.
Well, what about
Daniel Ricciardo? Daniel Ricciardo.
I'm not gonna say.
What is he doing up there?
I'm not gonna
P4?
I'm not gonna
P4? An AlphaTauri? Okay.
AlphaTauri yes.
Surprised me. That's what I'm saying. It just like stood out to me.
It definitely sticks out. Even more than when you see a Haas creep up there. Like it definitely sticks out a lot. Yeah. I'm glad Big Brother started letting them use like the big boy toys or something. Like I'm guessing that Red Bull finally let them like use the same tools. Maybe
something has changed.
They took away the toy tools and they gave them real tools. But it gives and I'm 100% sure like it was a while ago that there was this whole thing where Red Bull is going to help off what. It gives vibes that Red Bull was like, okay, here you go.
Yeah. Now that we've got a competent person in the second seat, I guess we'll put a little development.
Did you throw you guys a little development? Incompetent?
No, I said in the second seat.
I know.
I said in the second seat.
I know. I just forgot that he even
That's
existed.
My guy.
I forgot he even existed.
What do you mean?
The DeVries gentleman?
Oh, gentleman.
I gotta be respectful after I said I forgot him completely.
Oh my God. You mean Quickie Award winning? Lifetime Achievement Award? Yeah.
What a stint. Stay tuned for who
You're
wins
bigger than the whole
year.
sky, Nick DeVries. Yeah.
You said that and I imagined the Teletubbies, the sky and the sun being Nick DeVries.
That would just be so crazy. I'm going to Photoshop that. I'm going to make that happen. Oh. Just for you.
For everybody who asks, why are your thumbnails popping off right now? It's because Tasha, people.
Oh, thank you guys.
I'm excited to see that Photoshop. Now you have to.
That will be the thumbnail.
No. That'd be crazy. Too sick.
Never mind. That'd be so unhinged.
But we'll use the picture for other purposes. So then SQ3 happened.
Mm-hmm. We're on softs.
Yes.
And honestly, like nobody wanted to go.
The
session started.
That. Let's discuss
and everybody just was like chilling. Yeah.
Everybody did the exact same thing. and maybe we'll get into this later, but real quick is like if everybody, if you are hyping up this qualifying because it's a shootout and it's quicker,
right?
Objectively, it is quicker because we have less time. Am I really that? Oh man, this is a time crunch for real. When I'm seeing 3 minutes of the session go by and legitimately and literally 0 cars have come out of the garage.
Everybody's just like staring at each other.
It seems like this session could be 5 minutes long.
I mean,
it seems
really,
like we're giving them 3 minutes extra.
3, yeah. So yeah, that's what happened. It was wild. It was basically just waited for 3 minutes for people to actually leave the garage. However, when we finally get going, Verstappen made it worth everybody's while by overtaking 3 cars in the pit lane.
The announcer on F1 TV.
Oh, go ahead. The spirit of rush hour took his soul over his soul. He was like, getting my exit's right there. I'm trying to just get the fuck off this highway. Yeah.
Everybody's saying like, where are you going? Where are you going? Why are you doing this? We're all going to the same place. You're just going to stare at the person in front of you. No.
Yeah. I'm going home
the
first.
F1 TV,
that's how I feel.
the Alex Jakes immediately, for everybody wondering, that is allowed in the rules. He's doing something that is allowed in the rules because that shit looked dirty as fuck.
It looked crazy. So, I mean, again,
rush hour traffic.
Entertainment value. So my only blur, because pretty much everybody only did 1 lap, is Piastri 111.1 goes P1, Norris 110.6, then he goes P1, 110.6 for P2, and I don't actually have a name there, so who knows? It could be anybody. Leclerc goes P3, then Yuki, our guy, he goes P3, Ricardo P5, Perez P3. Sainz goes P7, Hamilton P4, Russell P4. Norris gets pole by 6/100ths of a second. And the quickest 5 from that group are Norris, Verstappen, Perez, Russell, and Hamilton. Voila. Norris gets a pole.
Have you ever had a time where you... I'm going to give you an example as well. Have you ever had a time where you thought that you sucked at something, but you actually knocked it out of the park? I'm going to give an example that annoys me a little bit. Is like in college where people would come out of a test and be like, I failed, but really they aced it.
Yeah.
Have you had a time like that? Not like the test.
Mario,
like that you thought you did.
By default, that's what I believe. Like, I never look at something and go, my masterpiece. I'm like, damn, you really like sucked at that. You could do better. So yes, I relate heavily.
I hate this answer.
I relate heavily. I'm sorry. It's the anxiety. It's not me. I don't want to be this way. But when God made me,
whenever you make something, just send it to me. Just send it to me. I got you.
All right, I will. Thanks. Yeah,
I got you.
I do need a lot of external validation. Let's just say.
No, we're good friends now, so it's like internal validation because we're in our system.
Yeah, that's true.
Lando Norris came out with like legitimately, I can't believe I'm sorry. Yeah. Lando Norris literally said, "Why am I so bad at qualifying?"
Yeah, he did not think he did well.
I was
it's kind of like
by that.
It's kind of like musicians, when you hear them play. To us, it sounds beautiful. But they'll tell you every note that they missed, every time that they were behind. Like we don't hear the mess up or we don't see the mistake. Lando, surprisingly, I'm surprised he did feel like that though, because he has been really fast this whole weekend. On used tires, he's one of the fastest cars out, on the track, and he's putting in amazing laps. He's not really making that many mistakes. So it is surprising to hear him say, but he's also like super in his head, and like, the spread between the cars is very, very narrow. So, it is just down to the slightest, tiniest, maybe like adjustments or whatever that really can like mess with your time. But I don't know. He did well. Like it's just a self-deprecation, default.
So he goes from like cocky, arrogant to self-deprecation very quickly. And it's a little whiplash. Speaking of Lando, we were talking about this is with the most recent performance and everything, this is not probably, sorry. This is the furthest I think that Lando and Oscar have been from each other in a qualifying or a race, with Lando in first and Oscar 10th. And you could see during SQ3, Oscar did not, the 2 seconds that SQ3 had cars on the track, you could really see that Oscar didn't seem super comfortable. Which is fine, we can't start expecting the rookie to be like doing what he's doing all the time, but it was like interesting to see him struggling, and then see Lando first versus Oscar 10th. So I guess good job, Lando.
Yeah. Pat yourself on the back.
Before I move on, just gonna do the starting grid. So it was, like Tasha broke down, we had Lando first, Max second, then Checo, Russell, Hamilton, Yuki, Leclerc, Danny Rick, Carlos Sainz, and Oscar, like I mentioned earlier. Anything to say before we move on your vibes, your feelings towards Mercedes during these three qualifying? Lewis, George fourth, Lewis fifth.
Yeah, I mean, you could definitely just see that the setup is wrong. Like immediately, just did not get the setup right, and you could tell it's very draggy. They're losing like, I want to say like over a second just in the final sector off of like straight line speed. So it's not really something that the drivers, it's not like that they can't just like make that up. It's the car. So I think the setup for this weekend is disappointing. And because like we said, it's Brazil is definitely like that place that welcomes Lewis, and George, he won here as well. So it's like it's good vibes for Mercedes, but to see them get the setup like so wrong, and struggling to be like the third, fourth, like fastest team is just like, okay.
My thing with Mercedes, my thing with like their performance all these weekends is I wish I could at least, there's no consistency. I feel like there's no consistency. It feels like one weekend we're talking about lessons learned. The other weekend we're like, especially with Lewis. Lewis has been vocal, and he should be, because like he needs to not put pressure in a bad way, but like be very open about what his responsibility and the car responsibility. Long story short, one weekend he feels comfortable with the car, the other weekend he doesn't feel comfortable with the car. And I'm not saying that's a Lewis Hamilton thing. I'm saying that's a like car preparation thing. And I wish it were consistent, even if they weren't winning. I wish it were consistent, and we're like, yeah, we learned that and that. So this is this way, but it doesn't feel that way. It feels like every weekend is a dice roll every weekend. And maybe you've gained enough goodwill with me that I'm not like, we're gonna be in the points. We're gonna be in the points, but it's a toss up podium. It's like, hopefully,
maybe. Yeah. I mean, that's part of the issue with just the fundamental concept of the car. Unfortunately, our car just has that super narrow setup window. So it is frustrating, though. It's one weekend you're like, wow, we're doing great. Like Lewis sounds happy for once, George hasn't sounded happy in a while, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like it's just so hard to gauge where we're going to be at, honestly. And so, yeah, it is like very disappointing. You come to places and you're like, shit, we could, everybody's praying and hoping for the best 1 minute. And the next minute it feels like those prayers were not answered. So yeah, it's very frustrating. Yeah.
So anyways, let's just move on to the actual sprint.
Yes.
How do you want to do this? Do you want to, should I just say like the top 10 or something with top 5? Let's do that. I got this. It's all good. Let's do that. So the result for the sprint, it was 24 laps. It was Max, Lando, and Checo, with George Russell, Charles Leclerc, Yuki Tsunoda, Lewis Hamilton, Carlos Sainz, and just out of the points, because sprint is 1 through 8, not 1 through 10, Danny Rick 9th and Oscar 10th. So this is what I got for you, Tasha.
Yeah.
How about them AlphaTauris?
Right? Right?
I'm gonna let them be AlphaTauri this time.
So I started the race because I kind of forgot the starting grid, and I was like, "Damn, we're starting next to Yuki." Like Lewis starting next to Yuki, which, like, in Yuki's defense, right? Like he's been doing great, but there's like this level of like kind of unpredictability, with like how things go for him. And so I always get nervous at the start. Certain people, I'm like, I just want to make sure that like, we just get a clean, good start. So I'm nervous about Yuki, but I'm like, whatever, fingers crossed. Start is great. Everybody gets through. We have some great overtakes to start with. Max immediately gets around Lando. You had Lewis immediately. He was now okay. I don't want to get into this right now, but like the debate of how Lando defends people versus Max versus how he defends everybody else.
About that. Girl, say it. Girl, say it.
The agenda, I'm just saying, like, I don't even know if it's an agenda at this point. I'm like, Lando, babe, what are you doing? Like, I know he's your friend, but like, fight back. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing? Like, this is your first poll, and you just like let it. Oscar, put up more of a fight. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You led no laps of a sprint that you are on pole for. Like, that's insane.
You're not slick, Lando. You're not slick. Like,
you're not slick,
the
brother.
amount,
like, come on, man.
It's not even a conspiracy theory at this point. The amount of times that I've seen Lando just get out of the way,
he's like,
immediately,
and let me move. Oh my god, I'm in your way. My bad. Yep.
Did I take second place? Did I take first place from you? Excuse me. Like, I'm not even good at qualifying. I don't know what I'm doing here.
Right.
This is yours.
I don't even know how I got here. This is for you. Yeah. It's crazy.
Oh no, I didn't want to even lead one lap. No, I didn't want to lead one lap. No, did I make you think I did? No, I didn't. I didn't want to. Not even a lap. But Lewis Hamilton behind him though, and the man's got like Mario Kart items he can shoot.
Right. So that happened.
Danny Rick looked really good. Danny Rick looked really good. He was impressive, like you mentioned, absolutely. And I love this from Yuki. Just come in here and be like, respectfully, I was here first. Respectfully, look at me. So I really like him. I really like him in sixth. With Danny in ninth. That was really good.
Yeah. That sixth came at the expense of Lewis Hamilton. Speaking of Mercedes, disappointment. So great overtake on Perez to start. I was like, okay, we're doing this. Like Perez and Lewis are going to be battling it out. We're doing this.
That's a great start.
Yeah. And then DRS got enabled. And then what had happened was Perez was like, I'm not playing with you today. So you can go play back there.
He presses it.
And that was that. So
crazy. The little wing does like, and it's crazy.
He said, yeah. So that was that. George bodied Lando. I was like, yo, what a great this is at the beginning of the race still.
Yeah.
So lots of great overtakes at the beginning. Like things were going great at the beginning. And then everybody kind of like settles, and there are some great battles kind of in the midfield. As Sir Lewis starts to topple down the standing a little bit.
It was bad.
There was a good it was so bad, guys. We got Lewis, Charles, and Checo. That was kind of fun.
Cry.
Yeah, I'm just trying to like. What is that Vince McMahon meme that everybody's posting? How did the 2023 Sao Paulo sprint go? And you're just like,
we don't talk about that here.
I don't want to talk about it. So that's what happened. But that was
company.
Yeah, mind you, right? So at the early on in the stages of the race, Ferrari are basically being told, both of them, to lift and coast. Like I don't even think we're 7 or 5 laps. So they're already lifting and coasting. At this point in the race. And Lewis is fighting with Charles. So I'm just like, bro, like this is crazy. Like I can't believe what I'm watching.
I read
like you said, Danny Rick
managing from lap 1.
Was he?
Like this is not a joke. Max overtook Lando and he was managing his tires since.
That's crazy. I mean, it's pretty tough on tire. I mean, this track is pretty crazy on tires.
Yeah. It's a cool thing that he
does.
I
mean, it makes sense that so many of them had to do it. Yeah.
Not super exciting though. Not super exciting.
He managed, yeah. So yeah, basically everybody was managing except for me because this race definitely had me shook a little bit. George starts toppling down. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't laugh, Mario. I was not well. George and Checo, that was a great little battle for 2 seconds. That was a great little battle. But you know the one that hurt the most, though? The one that like hurt the most?
Talk to me.
After
bro.
Charles Leclerc lift and coasted his ass past Lewis Hamilton, Yuki, my good pal Yuki, he dunked on Lewis. He put that DRS and he just like Lewis
DRS'd his ass out of there.
He pieced the fight and then dropped him like 2 seconds. So all in all, I would just say it was not a great race
and how does that
for
make
Mercedes. It makes me feel like I need to speak to my therapist because I feel like we prayed. You know what I'm saying?
There. Like I was there. I didn't understand any of it, but picture me cheerleading.
Right.
That was me. So I dropped purple hearts. Purple hearts like crazy. Like that one Drake lyric that's terrible. She sends me purple hearts because you know that we are at war because Drake fell off so hard. I think that's a Rihanna bar, people. We've been nice. I will do the opposite real quick. Williams were terrible all day. And when I say Williams, I obviously mean the one capable one. You know, the
one driver,
not the miracle one.
Right.
I'm sure that this is probably actually, Mario, you should know that this track does not suit Williams very well.
Right.
But Albon had a try deleted at some point. He was literally irrelevant during these sessions.
Yeah.
He ended 15th on the sprint. I expect more from Albon.
Not having a great weekend.
This time he did not deliver.
Yeah. He didn't sound in his like post-race interviews.
I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say in his post. I think he agrees with you in his post-race interview. I've never heard him sound so like critical and negative, and he just was like not feeling it. Like, so he agrees. I think y'all on the same page.
Me and Albon. Just let me know, Albon.
Yeah.
Just let me know. Just let me know, Alex. Anybody, and I can give you another one, but do you have someone that you just want to say, not great, not good?
I don't know. Besides, I don't know. I feel like I'm being led to answer something I don't know the answer to.
What? No, I would never lead you anywhere that you are not ready to be led to. Never. And I also said that I have one just in case.
No, okay. Tell me yours. Let me hear yours.
I don't think Alpine has done anything this weekend, and I don't just mean that because Esteban Ocon act a fool. I feel like today they didn't really give anything.
Yeah. No, I don't think so either. There was a good little battle between Gasly and Alonso toward the back, like, you know, a few laps, but yeah, I just don't think their car is there. I don't really think the team has that fight, that morale, you know? So I don't know. I just,
Esteban was cranky. Not Esteban, I'm sorry. Pierre was cranky. Pierre was cranky on the radio. I heard him twice.
Yeah.
Pretty cranky.
I mean, wouldn't you be cranky if that's what you were driving? Yeah.
Also, if I were French, I'm joking. I don't know what that even means. I am joking. So let's just put an end to the sprint stuff.
Yeah.
And no, we haven't even done the best part.
What's the best part?
We have arrived at the final beer in the 6-pack. This beer that, you know, when you go somewhere and beggars can't be choosers. So that's the only beer that we have. And you are going to
now you're drinking Natty Light.
Respectfully, just keep drinking them. And you're like, I'm sure they will start tasting better at some point. And so we finally drank the last terrible beer that is the sprints. 6 sprints this season. Today we wrapped up.
We crushed the can over our head. Like,
how's this beer tasting for you?
It tastes like piss. Yeah. Well, honestly, this is how bad the sprints are. Me and Max Verstappen have the same exact opinion. Like, agree wholeheartedly. Besties. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, me
Max and me
and Maximilian Verstappen.
Who would have thought?
Can I read a quote for you? Who would have thunk it? Can I read this quote, please, that he said on his view on sprints? Which I'm sure I have said at some point verbatim on the show. He says, I always say, what? That's that 5% of Dutch listeners that we have. Like, we see you. We know it's you. Somebody listens. But he says, I always say, why do we need to try and invent something? I think our product works if you just make sure that the cars are competitive and they will stay the same for a long time. Why do we suddenly need to come up with other things to try and make it entertaining? I think if you have a good race on your hands with cars being close to each other, then you don't need a sprint format or weekend. End quote.
I thought that was the quote that also included the other thing, but I know that he also said that I'm not 100% sure how he said it, but the sentiment I am sure of, which was that they also make Sundays worse.
Yes, he did say that. I didn't pull that.
Yeah, I don't remember when he said that, but he also said that. I'm sure of it.
Yeah.
Tasha, you agree with Max Verstappen, eh?
Yeah. Yes. Ooh. I think I've said this on every single episode of any podcast that I've done regarding a sprint race. Like, this is my consistent opinion.
You're on other podcasts?
No, I'm talking about our podcast. We've done 5 of these sprint reviews.
I thought.
You out here podcasting with other people?
You're right. That's what I'm saying. I don't podcast with other people. I guess we've never had the exclusivity talk. We'll talk about this.
Yeah, we need to have a conversation afterward. Okay. So anyway, here's how I feel about F1. Again, F1 needs to get their shit together in terms of what product are you selling. If we say that the main product is on Sunday and you give me less time for these cars to practice and set up for the race on Sunday, therefore making the race on Sunday worse, and you give me something in the middle that gives me a sneak peek into what I'm going to see on Sunday, it does not benefit the product at all, period. End of discussion. To everybody who's like, oh, well, it's not entertaining to watch free practice. Free practice is not meant to be entertaining. Free practice is utilitarian. They're just there to collect data, set their cars up for Sunday. That's how I feel. Like, at the end of the day, when you don't have a product that you're confident in, that's when you get what F1's doing now. Manufacturing excitement or entertainment. And it's like, you're not really delivering on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the regulations allowed, or if the regulations that they put in place for this era were actually working the way that they were meant to work, I don't think we would be here in this place. But they're now having to, like, supplement races with mini races because they're like, the main races are not interesting either. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, when you get your product, I just think it's insane to, like, have a product that's basically half-baked, right? Like a half-baked concept, not deliver on that, like 100% not deliver on that, and then have the audacity to offer something else for people to, like, consume. That's also not well thought out. Like, that's how I feel. Like, get your shit together. F1 in general. Like, because I think I think just, like, trying to, like, continually beat this dead horse just makes them look like stupid in the end. And that's all I got. And I hate that they made me agree with Max Verstappen. So there's that.
When you're on a boat and it starts sinking and you start throwing stuff out,
yeah,
somehow F1 chose to put themselves in a situation where it's either a benefit to the sport or a benefit to entertainment.
Right.
They have those two elements on two sides, and they found a way to handicap one of them to quote unquote make the other better. And I don't see how it's working because it makes people less interested on Sunday. It makes the race less interesting because you've got park firmer. So you basically are going to get the same thing that you got during the sprint. So like you're literally diluting your main product on Sunday by giving us this sprint that is unoriginal. And what I'm worried about as well is because they would never admit that the sprint was a mistake. They're not going to eliminate it and come up with something new. They're only going to offer tweaks. Like we're only going to get tweaks to this. And this is shit. And you can make shit less shitty, but it's very like Mercedes saying, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, have you ever you've been to Cheesecake Factory, right?
Yeah.
Or like a restaurant that has like a menu with like 400 pages.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I mean? You order something and it's okay. Yeah, they do everything and everything's okay. But it could be better if they edit it down to like just, what you're good at. And I feel like F1 needs some editing because not only like you're saying, are they diluting the main race, but you're getting double of everything. You're getting double the race and then double the quali. So it's like, why do I need to watch cars qualify twice? They're already in Parc Fermé on Friday, so nothing's really going to change. I mean, the track conditions might change or whatever. Driver performance might be a factor, but still, it's roughly going to be the same pecking order. So, so to speak, for Saturday. So it's like, why are we watching 2 qualies, then 2 races?
Because they're
nobody can answer that. And they're so entertaining. They're so entertaining that the commentary on Saturday is, how can we make this better? Oh, here's an idea. Let's give them a purse. Let's give them a, cash prize. Let's donate to charity. Like, if it's such a great product, why is everybody like brainstorming how to make it actually function properly or better? And that's like, for me, I'm like, that's what I'm saying is like the fact that nobody at like an executive level is like, yeah, this isn't working. Let's either get rid of it until we can find a format and a concept that works, or, tweak it in some sort of way that it works. It's just like you're just trying to like shove through an idea that just is fundamentally like broken. And I don't think it adds anything to the weekend. And I think it takes away from the weekend. When it's on Sunday and people are getting, DQ'd for setup issues that could have been fixed on a Friday or a Saturday, it's just very frustrating as a fan. Do you know what I'm saying? And George is saying something like, the same thing could happen here in Brazil on Sunday, where you might see people with the excessive plank wear issue again. So it's like, if we take a second and like actually like focus on setting up the cars for Sunday and make all the sprint, activities secondary, like I think we'll get a better product on Sunday, which is already pushing it because again, we hear the Dutch national anthem every Sunday. You know what I'm saying? So now I got to hear it double. I got to hear it on Saturday and Sunday.
Max won 4 out of the 6 sprints before anybody says anything. 4 out of 6.
Yes. So. Yeah. Anyway. That's how I feel.
I would have liked them to try to iterate during the season instead of doing the 6 things over and over again in the same way.
Yeah.
And we are, because they won't admit, because it would be an admission of their mistake, I am pretty confident that they're going to shove 6 more of these at the minimum next year.
Oh, yeah. 100%. Yeah.
And
if they could fit more, they would.
Oh, God. Sorry.
No, I agree. I was just going to say it. And if they could fit more, they could definitely would. Yeah.
Two last things about it is, I think if we have someone from like, I'm not going to say a team because I don't want to be mean, but if we have someone that's consistently 20th and 19th on all sprint weekends, which I'm sure we can find a team to say, if they complain about sprints, then you can hit them with of course you would complain you suck. But you got Tasha agreeing with Max Verstappen, who has won 4 out of 6 sprints. When this guy is telling you that it sucks, And Max is all business for good or bad. Max is all business. And Max is telling you, Max loves F1. Max loves racing and motorsport. And he is clearly telling you, you are hurting the motorsport aspect of this with the sprint. And like, they clearly are. They clearly are. And for what? And for who? For whom? For whom?
For whom?
Is there somebody that is like, I had never heard of F1 until I heard about this sprint thing? No.
Right.
Nobody.
But see, and even that's crazy because most people, you need ESPN, you need Sky Sports, you need some subscription. So you're not just gonna like serendipitously like come across an F1 sprint race on like a channel that you can anybody can access. So again, you have this barrier to entry to the sport that's already kind of like hard to follow along at first. So, I just feel like they're creating too many issues. Like they need to simplify things and get the main shit right before they even think about branching out and doing other stuff. Like you're not getting the races right. Like that's the issue. Like we can't even do 24 races without some shit happening, rules not being applied properly. Again, same people winning, same sort of like pecking order, same fastest cars. Like nothing's really changing from race to race. That is an issue. Like fuck a sprint race. Get the main shit right first. Then we can start adding on to what we offer. Like I just think they're doing it wrong. That's it.
I think it's very fixing a problem with a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Because these rule changes that they do when they don't penalize Max, but then they fix the rule next week. Mm-hmm. Like everything that F1 does feels like a bandage on a bandage on a bandage. And next year when we do changes to sprint, again, it's bandages because the wound, the sprint is still there. And so let's not cop out. Any ideas on how to make the sprint specifically, if we can't delete it out of our lives, how I can start? Or go ahead.
Go ahead. Let me hear it.
I think something that we should definitely try is reverse grid and see how that works. Mm-hmm. I think that I'm sure that if we tally the scores of the sprint and we treat it as its own individual championship, I'm sure it's not going to be very different from the actual drivers' championship. So I would like to see how reversing the grid would affect that. And it might just not affect that because Max could start 15th and win.
I mean, hey, but at least it'll be interesting to see that.
I would want to definitely see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like the concept of the quali, like the Friday quali or whatever quali.
Yeah.
Setting both grids, but then to your point, reversing the sprint. So that way, at least we don't have to watch quali twice. I feel like because either way you look at it, if it's the same roughly pecking order, like why not just qualify once and handle both grids out of the way? And then maybe they can add in an additional practice or like a little abbreviated practice time or something on Friday or Saturday morning. So I don't know.
Do you think
I think that has to be.
We're rusty. We haven't done this in a while. Do you think the sprint needs to have more value? For example, the sprint result being what sets the grid for the race the next day.
Yeah, it needs definitely more value. It needs there needs to be like an element to it that makes it worth them pushing, for however many laps that they're going to be doing. And yeah, I would say either it sets the grid, which I do like that idea as well. I think that's a great idea. I guess my only issue is the Parc Fermé, and it's just the fact that like when do they actually get a chance to set the cars up? But yeah, it needs some sort of element of like risk, and we definitely need to work on like how to make it more interesting. So yeah. But I don't know because I want to get rid of it altogether. So
you mentioned it briefly, but I don't want the car that I saw on the sprint to be the same car that I see on the race in the race. I'm sorry, like those cars being the same car is a concept that I don't understand why it's like that.
Right.
If you're removing practices, which they are for the sprint, let me use data from the sprint to try and do better on Sunday.
To reset your car. Yeah, exactly.
So that's something. reverse the grid, make the sprint more important, and let me change the car. Like those are three layups because of how easy they are to change. And I think they would improve the format if we had to be stuck with the set format.
Which we will be, yes.
Chris is out here chirping, chirp. But he says his way is better. He wants practice 1 and 2 on Friday, sprint shootout on Saturday. This sprint shootout would set the grid for the sprint race on the same Saturday. So the Saturday stays more or less the same. What changes is that the sprint race on Saturday, like we talked about, would set the grid for Sunday. Again, regardless of anyone's opinion on better, worse, or etc., all of these are good changes to try that are easy to implement. And when they throw out 6 of the same beer and you don't even change it a little, I become worried because all of these things could have been tried during the season. And don't be out here pretending that we have to protect the sanctity of the sprint shit because nobody cares. Nobody cares.
And also make them at better tracks. Like what sprint races on tracks where you can't overtake makes absolutely no sense. So there's that. It's too many things. There's too many issues. There's really too many issues. Honestly, there's too many issues.
Brazil,
so many issues.
I'm gonna keep yapping. Brazil is an interesting track because the 3 seasons that we've had sprints, there's been sprints in Brazil, and I'm not gonna go super into it, but basically, whoever qualified sprint shootout, sprint qualifies, whatever, in the top 3, 2 of those do win the sprint, and then that happened all 3 years, and then during the race, those who performed in the sprint also performed in the race. Again, 2 of the same drivers on both podiums.
Yeah.
That is not competitive or fun or entertaining or anything.
Or surprising. Yeah.
Before we move on to that other session, anything else on sprint?
No.
Okay.
Welcome. No, I'm just kidding.
They're great. I want more. Can we have a baker's dozen of them, please?
Please, everybody, can I have some more?
Yeah, everybody who follows, et cetera, let us know what you would do to fix these sprints. I had a question when we were talking about how would you format it, and I want to know if deleting something is formatting because that's what I would do with the format. But let us know on Twitter, Quick Stop Tasha, me, who cares, on the YouTube comments. Let us know how you would fix it. But apparently deleting it is not a valid answer, as I learned earlier. Moving on, because we have another one. Yeah.
Woof.
No, for real. So we have standard qualifying, which happened on Friday after FP1. We're going to break it down as we do. So let's just get right into it. For Q1, the 5 drivers that I forgot that I say lost, like that's not a good word for it. So the 5 drivers that were eliminated in Q1 are from 16th through 20th, Yuki Tsunoda, Danny Rick, Valtteri Bottas, Logan Sargent, and Zhou Guanyu. Tasha, what do you got for us for this session?
Can we backtrack just shortly? Set the scene a little bit because this quali is on Friday was a little, it's a little cinematic. So first we start the session off being delayed. 3rd. Yeah. Session is delayed for track cleaning. Pirelli has asked the FIA to please clean the track. They had multiple tires that were punctured with screws and other debris. So they had them sweep the track, and it delayed quali by about 15 minutes. That being said, for the tire selection this week, we're on C4, C3, and C2. Air temperature for this session was about 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Track was about 104 degrees. We had about 54% humidity and a 9.7 mile per hour northern wind. And most importantly, a 60%
northern wind
chance of rain. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're getting into it.
86
I'm
degrees Fahrenheit.
86 degrees. That sounds Fahrenheit nice for Brazil.
30 degrees Celsius for our metric folk.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. So anyway, getting into Q1. No, you got it right.
It's metric system.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Why not? Yeah. We're gonna go with that. All right.
I'm sorry.
All right. So Q1, which is about 18 minutes long. Oscar Piastri lines up first for us. The teams all seem super eager to get out and get laps done as soon as possible because of the rain predictions. Oscar goes out on used softs to start, and his first lap is a 1:11.4. His car looks to be sliding around a lot, like he's just snapping everywhere. So his lap's not that great to start. Alonso slots into P3 after Albon, who's in P2. Stroll and Bottas top the timesheet with time still in the 1:11s, and then Norris is the first driver to set a time in the 1:10s. He gave us a 1:10.6, and then Max, his first lap was only good enough for P2 with a 110.9. Leclerc goes P8 with a 1:11.6. Sainz goes P8. Both Ferraris are actually on used tires at this point as well. Hamilton goes P2 with the 110.8 behind Norris. Russell is P4 with the 111.2. Max starts to mention at this point that his car is jumping around like a kangaroo. Same as Mexico, apparently. And meanwhile, Gasly's lap takes him to P4 with the 110.9.
man's a poet and she just brushes past it.
It was poetry. He said, jumping like a kangaroo. Ocon goes P8. Ricciardo is P5, half a second off the leader, which is still Norris. And Tsunoda goes P10. George Russell is the first to be noted for pit exit impeding of Gasly. We didn't mention that they clamped down apparently on the rules for the pit lane exit. Yeah. So the FIA basically was like, we're going to start penalizing people for that. So
I mentioned it briefly when we were talking about how Max does something and then they make a rule against it, but they don't penalize Max. That fits into that one.
Right. So that happened. About 10 minutes, with 10 minutes to go, our top 5 are Norris, Hamilton, Verstappen, Gasly, and Ricciardo. Bottom 5 are Hülkenberg, Sainz, Leclerc, Perez, and Zhou. Leclerc jumps up to P1 with a 110.4, and Sainz goes P4, about 4/10 off of Leclerc's time. Alonso goes P3 with the 110.8. Piastri with fresher tires goes P2, and he gives us a 110.5. And his last sector was his weakest. Haas basically are P12 and P13 respectively, and nearly a second off the leader at this point. Stroll goes third fastest, and Perez only manages to go P5. Ocon goes P11 with the 111 on the dot. Tsunoda jumps to P6, 3/10 off of Leclerc. He's replaced by Hamilton with the 110.8, and Russell only goes P12 with the 111, and his sector 3 was his weakest time, which we established. Verstappen goes P5 with the 110.6, Gasly P7. With 5 to go, top 5 are Leclerc, Piastri, Stroll, Norris, Verstappen. The bottom are Magnussen, Bottas, Sargent, Albon, and Zhou. Zhou's only able to go P16 with his lap of 111.2. Bottas goes P12. And currently it appears times around P6 are not safe. So essentially everybody's going to have to come back out to do another lap. Albon goes P4, 110.6, just a 10.5 from Leclerc. Stroll starts to report drops of rain. Leclerc and Piastri stay in the pits while everyone else goes out for their final laps. Sainz goes P6 with a 110.6. Sargent P15, Hamilton P4, Russell goes P1 with the 110.3. Hulk jumps to P3, just a 10th or so off of Russell. Magnussen goes P6, replaced by Alonso. Ricciardo goes P16. Tsunoda stays P15. He's the driver at risk. Verstappen jumps to P2 and is under a 10th to Russell. Ocon jumps to P14, knocking out Tsunoda. The quickest 5 from that session are Russell, Leclerc, Hülkenberg, Piastri, and Stroll. And Yuki believed that Lewis Hamilton impeded him.
Lewis Hamilton.
He said say it 3 times. But it actually was Pierre Gasly. So both of which were noted afterward for impeding. Yeah. So yeah, that is Q1.
Nothing came out of those, by the way. Nothing came out of those.
Russell got a 2 place.
No, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about a different thing. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
And I think Gasly did also. Yeah. Yeah.
When you start reading quickest 5 and you drop the Hülkenberg, I'm like,
even what? I read it. I took these notes.
And then she hits you with the Stroll, and you're like, Tasha must be out of her mind.
She's smoking crack. Yeah.
Impeccable note taker. Tasha takes a note wrong. What?
Right.
But no, crazy. That's actually the top 5.
It's true. Yeah. Crazy.
One thing that rings during this breakdown is a lot of Albon not being great. A lot of Albon not being great.
Not great.
He did not seem comfortable all weekend.
He was just squeaking by. Yeah, basically.
Yep. So we go into Q2. We go into Q2, and from 11th through 15th, we lose Nico Hülkenberg, Esteban Ocon, Pierre Gasly. We were talking about earlier a little Alpine. No, how do you say "where are you" in French? Because that's what I want to ask Alpine. We lost Kevin Magnussen, and I'll believe you. You can say anything, I'll believe you. Nico Hülkenberg, Ocon, Gasly, Magnussen, and Albon are out. Break it down for us.
Right. So Q2, 15 minutes. Basically, at this point, rain is starting to look more imminent. GP comes over the radio and says that he's reporting light rain in the pit lane. Max obviously gets out first, hits us with an 18.4 first sector. Perez actually got a 10th faster in sector 1, and they kind of battled it out. But Max hit us with a 110.1, and Perez goes P2. Alonso goes P4. Stroll goes P3 with a 110.3. Albon is P4. Hamilton goes P4 then with a 110.5. Norris jumps up to P2 with a 110.3. Russell goes P8 with the 111 on the dot. Leclerc goes P8, about 0.8 ahead of Russell. Sainz goes P10 with the 111 as well. And at this point, most people are on used tires. Piastri goes P3 with the 110.3. Ocon goes P7 with the 110.5. About 10 minutes to go, our top 5 are Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, Perez, Stroll. And the bottom 5 are Leclerc, Russell, Sainz, Hülkenberg, and Magnussen.
Just stop real quick. Like,
yeah.
That the bottom 5, Leclerc, Russell, Sainz. What are y'all doing down there?
What are we doing, guys?
Down there? And I hate to harp, but then top 5: Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, Perez, Stroll. One of those not like the other.
Somebody's not so. Yeah, exactly. It's just everybody's everywhere. It's chaotic. Yeah. So at this point, though, a lot of people are in the pit. So Hülkenberg and Magnussen take advantage of a pretty much empty track to set their first laps of the session. Hulk goes P8 with the 110.6, and Magnussen only P9. Hamilton reports that the track temperature is dropping. Then Tokyo drifts it at turn 4 into 5. His lap gets him a P4 with a 110.3. Russell goes P2 with a 110.3. Leclerc goes P5. Then Sainz goes P2. And Sainz is about less than 1/10 to Verstappen. With 5 to go, our quickest 5 are Verstappen, Sainz, Russell, Norris, Piastri. And the bottom 5, Hülkenberg, Magnussen, Gasly, Albon, and Alonso. Alonso jumps up to P2 with the 110.2. Norris then goes P1 with the 110. Albon, poor thing, had a track time deleted. Perez goes only P3 with the 110.2. Even though he's doing better in these sessions, he still seems really off pace to Max, and really the other drivers as well. So that's just something to just note. Verstappen surprisingly doesn't.
It takes stamina to participate in 3 sessions, and he hasn't done that in so long that you got to get back into form.
He's easing his way. Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's relatable. Verstappen surprisingly does not improve his time, so he remains at P2. Hülkenberg goes P11. Magnussen stays P13. Ocon P12. Hamilton goes to P6 with a 110.6. Gasly only makes it to P13. Leclerc goes to P7. Piastri abandons his lap, basically because he is safe. And our quickest 5 out of that session are Norris, Verstappen, Perez, Alonso, and Sainz. Voila.
Rain imminent. I could have told you.
Rain imminent. Yeah.
I could have told you that. Yeah. You didn't need technology for this one.
You did not need Doppler radar for that at all. It was pretty clear.
It was the perfect storm forming in 5 minutes. Yeah. We move on to Q3, and then the starting grid the starting 10 for tomorrow's race are Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's prediction: Lance Stroll starting at 3rd, Fernando Alonso starting at 4th, Lewis Hamilton and George Russell 5th and 6th. We have Lando Norris in 7th, Carlos Sainz 8th, Checo 9th, Oscar Piastri 10th. Now that we've talked about sprint shootout, sprint, and now we're in qualifying. You really saw Lando redeem himself for what he did today. He was really down in the dumps with his performance yesterday. He said that he thought he didn't get a good chance at running. But anyways, what do you have for us on the last session of qualifying?
So Q3, basically at this point, the sky is biblical, as Martin Brundle calls it. Rain is more than imminent at this point. Yeah. You guys gonna have to fight for that word. It's a good word because it's true. And then Javi explains to Leclerc that he can expect rain about 7 minutes into the session. And so everybody is coming out. Nobody's taking any chances. Verstappen immediately goes P1 with the 110.7, Stroll P2 with the 111.3, Alonso goes P3, and Hamilton comes in P4. Russell goes 111.5 for P5. Leclerc goes P2 with the 111.0, and Norris goes 111.9 for P7. Sainz goes 111.9. Meanwhile, Piastri causes a brief yellow flag for going into the grass at turn 13. Perez goes P9 with a 113.2, which he might have got a little bit caught out by Piastri's yellow flag, so I had to slow down. But he goes P9. And basically at this point, rain is beginning to fall on the track. Our quickest at this point are Verstappen, Leclerc, Stroll, Alonso, Hamilton. And before anybody can do anything, it just downpours on the track. So it's just heavy rain and wind, and the session is red flagged. And that is our Q3 session summarized.
After the qualifying session, Charles Leclerc said this like 7 times, where it was the weirdest thing he's ever experienced, where there wasn't rain, but the effects of rain on the track were happening. Like there was less grip, and he was more slippery and everything. But he said that there wasn't any rain. And I say it jokingly, he did really say it 4 times, but like I'm not saying it in a messing with him way. It's more so like he really felt that way, because like he said it everywhere.
Yeah,
like, he really felt that way.
Yeah.
Do you think it gives me Scooby-Doo vibes, where we finally find like the culprit of doing something and you take the mask off? I feel like Lawrence Stroll somehow did this. And
you think?
I don't know if billions get to control weather type technology, but like I feel like we're going to unmask Lawrence Stroll and see that he had something to do with this.
With the weather?
Yes, he
controls the weather, man. Yeah.
He's got billions.
He's got drones in the sky that make it rain.
Tasha, you definitely saw at one of the Olympics, if it was probably Tokyo Olympics, drones are crazy. Them drones
God. Yeah.
Drones are
programmed into the shape of like whatever. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I was going to say another thing, but the sky looked crazy. That's my first observation. My second observation,
stands like being ripped apart by the wind? The grandstands.
See that.
People were like in the grandstands, and like shit was just like peeling off, and nobody ran. And I was like, y'all are crazy. Like I'm not riding that out. Like it's lightning.
I would have already been gone.
We went in the car. Yeah.
Like, like the walk is long.
You ain't gotta tell me more than one time to get the F up out of my seat. So yeah, getting the hell out of here. No.
Oh man. Hopefully everybody is safe. That's bad vibes. I want to say something. As I was listening to you, these breakdowns are really good for me as I listen to you, because I actually get to learn something new. I'm not just being nice about it. I don't know if you listen to yourself as you read it all.
No.
But
no thoughts,
you said 111 a bunch of times, and I was like, weird. But now I'm so I'm looking at it. Now I'm looking at it, and in second place, it's Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
In 8th place, it's Carlos Sainz.
Yes.
All of them 111s.
Yeah.
Charles Leclerc had a 111.021. Carlos Sainz had a 111.989. So all of those drivers on 111s.
So close together. Yeah.
Like, that is so close. Max had a 110.
So close.
That is so close. Yeah. That was really
good. And I see
why
Norris felt the way he felt, because I mean, Norris was on track. There was like some stats from the, everybody could figure out the top speeds and stuff like that. And they were saying that Norris basically could have gotten pole. So I do see why he was upset yesterday.
Yeah.
Not being able to capitalize. But I mean, it really was an act of God that kind of blocked. Everybody went and did their banker laps, but there was just not enough time to, get a different lap in after that. So yeah. P7 probably not where he wanted to be, but I mean, looking at the race pace of their car, like, and the people ahead of them, he probably will do.
That is a perfect segue to how do you feel about, now that we've talked about every session, how do you feel about Mercedes' performance tomorrow during the race based on the sprint?
I'm scared.
And
I'm scared.
You're scared.
It's giving scary. Yeah.
It's giving scary
it's giving
spice?
Scary. Yeah. It's giving like demon on the ceiling, staring at you when you're asleep, chills down your spine type of thing. Yeah. I'm scared.
I think you must have been very, and me too, but I empathize with, like, you must have felt very conflicted seeing Yuki Tsunoda overtake Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah. I mean, at first I was mad, and then I was like, you know what? Like I said, Yuki has been doing what he needs to do. Like, this season, he's been putting in like really solid performances. I mean, who wouldn't take advantage of, Lewis Hamilton toppling down the grid? Like, I'm going to pass him. Like, that's just a no-brainer. So, but I don't know, like, his performances, he's been doing really well. And I am happy for him. Like, he's just one of those drivers that I'm like, you good job.
So that was the angel on Tasha's shoulder. The devil on Tasha's shoulder is saying, Yuki Tsunoda in an AlphaTauri overtook us.
An AlphaTauri.
Okay.
On pace.
No cheating. No funny business.
Took out a Merc. Lewis. Not a Merc. Lewis. Like, what?
That is bad vibes for tomorrow. Okay.
Mercedes had the fucking nerve.
What did they do?
Mercedes had the nerve to tweet out.
What did they do?
Say? Because I was like, you should be fucking ashamed of yourself.
Ashamed.
Are you not embarrassed? Where is it?
Should be.
They said lap 22 of 24, Lewis can do nothing to stop Yuki coming by, and he's back to P7. You should never be tweeting that as the Mercedes admin. Do you know what I'm saying? Yuki's on the RB19.
I was gonna say something about the admin, but now I'm actually putting myself in the admin's shoes and thinking, damn, that admin must have felt horrible tweeting that.
There's nothing he can do?
Nothing he can do. It's a Red Bull.
Nothing.
Oh, wait, no.
Yeah.
No, it's the AlphaTauri we're talking about.
So anyway, I need Mercedes to get their shit together. I'm scared.
Yeah,
I'm truly scared.
Yes. Not super high hopes. On the other, on the last question is, and I don't want to be mean, I feel like this is just because of what we've seen, and I will gladly answer. Likelihood of Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso getting a podium finish tomorrow.
I don't see it.
I am sorry if this is hater vibes, but when Lance Stroll, I don't even know what's a good question. What's a good word? When Lance Stroll meteors down, when Lance Stroll just goes to 17th, and I will be there.
Yes.
I will be there to see that.
Yes.
Alonso might get podium. It's very unlikely, but he might. But Lance Stroll? Shit.
No fucking chance. Yeah. No, not happening.
Let's just stop guessing and let's see what the people are predicting.
The people. Yeah.
We went on Twitter, I'm sorry. Tasha went on Twitter and Tasha asked. She did not want Maria's participation in this one.
I was like, hey guys, you could have participated.
It's weird because sometimes Is it true? Because 9 out of 10 times you tagged me on the tweet, but like this time you did.
I do. Listen, I was disappointed. It wasn't. I wasn't trying to exclude you, Mario. I was just like,
you just did it anyways. It's fine. It's fine. We'll talk about it later. It's fine.
All right.
I just tweeted out to get some race predictions for tomorrow, and as y'all do, you came through and had some choice words to give us. So, Tasha, what did the people have to say?
Okay, well, our first tweet is from Spicy Souvlaki. They said, yes, my race prediction is I'll hate it. And then they said, Max, Charles, Lewis.
I like the energy on that tweet.
Yeah.
I really like the energy on that tweet.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Because it's accurate.
Absolutely. And we just got the preview of it, so I know what I'm going to hate. Next tweet we have is from Cinco Sevilla or Cinco Bill. It's fine. They said P10, and they are expecting the bare minimum at this point. You got to set your expectations reasonable. Sometimes you just got to set expectations reasonably, you know? You can't always set them to the moon because the heart can't take that all the time, you know?
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen. P10.
What do you have for us?
My next tweet is from @DarthRyan87. He said, gotta keep faith. We can do better on medium and hards. So his podium is Verstappen, Hamilton, and Norris.
Okay.
I like that. Somebody has to be positive. Somebody has
to keep the vibes up.
Absolutely.
Somebody who is not trying to run on vibes, but actually run on performance, Pete at Mu_Themba. Muthemba with an underscore. Forget the podium. If this is the pace, I'm going to need Mercedes to brake park firmer and fix that car.
Yeah.
My suggestion, Lewis Hamilton takes his shirt off, goes somewhere away from the garage, distracts everybody, and we fix that car up real quick. Nobody has enough.
This is not a thirst trap. Not going to fix this. We're in the trenches. We are in the trenches, my brothers and sisters. This Lewis Hamilton thirst trap is not going to fix this car by tomorrow.
But that fixes everything.
I mean, I would like to see it. We could at least try. I think we should try. You're right.
Just fix the car, Mercedes. It's fine. It's fine. I'm sure Checo won't mind. I'm sure he won't mind. So with those tweets, thank you as always. You can find us on socials and everything. Let's wrap up this bad boy with our own predictions. Tasha, do you want to go first with your predictions for tomorrow?
Well, I feel like the sprint has taken all the fun out of guessing. So Max P1. I don't know if that Ferrari is going to survive. Right, Lance Stroll P2. Charles is in P2. Okay, let's be real here. Let's be for serious. I see Max, Lewis, and Sergio Perez. So Max P1, Checo P2, Lewis P3. I think
that's nice.
That's just how I'm feeling.
Checo, huh?
You saw they turned his engine up.
Oh, they were like,
girl, you're getting that P2 in this.
The training wheels are off now. The training wheels are off. Like,
you can have some speed as a treat.
Your score.
Yeah.
All right. It's gonna be Maximilian on top. It's going to be. That's crazy. Am I gonna say Alonso? Wait, how did Alonso do? I don't know why. I don't know why this thought came to my mind, but I think George Russell is gonna act a fool tomorrow somehow. That's not what we asked, but I don't know why that came up. I just think, damn, I'm gonna actually give you a reason. George Russell sees how Brazil is like, Lewis. He's going to be like, look at me. And he's going to act a fool. Right. But anyways, Max Verstappen is going to be Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso. I think Alonso can stay there. Maybe. Depends on how shitty that car keeps being.
Well, now that he took damage, who knows? So we'll see.
Those are your predictions. Those are my predictions. Those are the people's predictions. We've been predicting. I wish we could predict correctly that the sprint disappears and is not part of our lives anymore, but that prediction would be wrong.
We need a prayer space for that.
Thank you so much for everybody who's still listening somehow. I'm just kidding. You got to listen. We've been gone for so long. Thank you very much for everybody. If you're on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure to leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We've got a Patreon for ad-free content, merch, etc. Join us on FanAmp for discussions during, before, after, all the time, on all the tracks, on all the sessions, all 17 of these, but not practices. We can't have practices. Are you crazy? Those are not entertaining at all. Thank you very much, everybody. I've been Mario. You can find me at Mario_APM on Twitter and Instagram. Tasha, where can the people find you?
Twitter, Instagram at Tasha. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
We are elated that this is the final sprint of the season, and we are excited to bring you an episode next week. Also, remember to tune in to the episode coming out on Tuesday. I'm sure they'll break down what we see in Brazil. But you know what? We're back. We'll be back next week. Y'all are not. We're not done. Not even close. But for now,
we only have 2 more races left of the season.
But we'll be around maybe during the off season.
Maybe.
I say maybe for the suspense.
Perhaps.
For now, because I gotta walk my dog because literally she's whining as we speak.
She's ready. She's like, girl, wrap this up. So with that being said, again, thank you all so much for listening, for tuning in. We really appreciate you all. And please remember, no matter what happens in life, keep it on the black stuff. Peace.
Please.
Look, mate, if you've got this far, clearly you like what we do. So here's a link to subscribe to the Quickstop F1 family. Give that a click. And here's another link to some more cool on our channel. Sorry, cool stuff. And remember, no matter what happens, keep it on the black stuff. Click the stuff. Click the links. Click the links. Click the links. There. They're there.